Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Introduce my name is Siti Nursali with study number A1M220068. I from class B. In this video, I will explain material about education, asking for opinion, giving direction, asking for information, making request, text, procedural, and interenst. So, first I will explain material about education. So, in English, the word education is called education, word etymology. The word comes from the Latin, namely educatum. The word educatum consists of two words, namely a which means develop from the inside out, and Dutch which means develop. So that etymology, the meaning of education is the process of developing one's of ability and individual strength. So, in short, the notion of education is a learning process for students to have an understanding of something and make them a critical human being in seeing. Education goals. In general, the purpose of education is to educate and then develop the potential in students with the growth of intelligence and self-potential. Every child and have knowledge, creativity, physical and mentally healthy, good personality, independent, and become a responsibility member of society. Education function. In general, the function of education is to develop abilities, characteristics, personality, so that students become dignified individuals. The types of education are as following. 1. Formal education. Formal education is a type of education that is structured and has levels, ranging from early childhood education, basic education, secondary education, high school education, and higher education or university. 2. Non-formal education. Non-formal education is an education path outside formal education that can be carried out in stage and in a structured manner. 3. Informal education. Informal education is a type of education that comes from the family and environment where students can learning. 2. Next, I will explain material about asking opinion. Asking opinion is an expression used to ask, answer, or response to an opinion. In opinion, there are usually several verbs used such as believe, think, assume, agree, or not agree, or disagree. Example sentence asking for opinion, namely, 1. What do you think of blah blah? 2. What is your opinion? 3. What do you think about blah blah? 4. What is your idea? How do you feel? How do you think? Please give me your opinion. Give me your comment. Do you have opinion of? Do you have any idea? What is your comment? How is your opinion? How about this? How do you like? How was that right? How do you think of my idea? Next, I will explain material about giving direction. So, giving direction is a way of asking or direction to other. Giving direction is not only done by meeting in person, but now it can be done by telephone or other media. In addition, if your meeting consists any day, ask for help using English and Indian, and you can answer them. So, it is mandatory for you to know how to ask and giving direction. Giving direction to answer or giving direction, you can use the method below. If you don't know the answer, use the expression below. I'm sorry I don't know the word of I could show you the way to I could help you to get because I live here just now. I am a stretch here. If you could now give direction, go ahead or go stretch ahead. Go stretch on meaning stretch. Go stretch to the meaning stretch. Go stretch on for about 2 kilometers. Indonesia detached. Asking for next I will explain material about asking for information. Asking for information is an expression sentence to ask something. This expression is used to ask someone for information at certain time. In the usage of asking for information, of course, we are in a stage of need for information, even short or positive frequency something, but of course, we have to look at the situation and condition when asking other people. Rules in asking for information. Rules in asking for information. In writing or expression asking for information, you must pay attention to the extension rules, including the following. 1. Using question. In asking for information, we must use an interrogative sentence consisting of 5W and 1 is, such as why, when, what, where, who, and how. With this devotional, you ask will understanding what kind of information you need. 2. Using auxiliary capital. In addition to auxiliary words, you can also use auxiliary words such as could, can, will, should, shall, may, milk, must, and had to. As example sentence asking for information. And what is your name? I wondered if you can tell me about the history of this place. 3. What happened here? 4. What food can you cook? And 5. Where did you find my address? Okay, next I will explain material about procedural text. Procedural text. From the explanation above, it can be concluded that procedural text is text that contains commands or steps in doing something. In other words, procedural text is made to illustration how something is done through sequential steps. Procedural text titles are very easy to recognize. Usually begins with the word how to, for example, how to learning English quickly, how to have a conversation in English, and many others. Procedural text characteristic. The following are the characteristics of procedural text. 1. Using the simple present tense. 2. Using imperative sentence. Example, and to sponsor, cook with low health, build the speech, etc. 3. Using action verb. Example, add, put, turn. 4. Using number. Example, first, second, third. 5. Using conjunction. Example, next, then, while. 6. Using adverb to clarify the stage that are passed. Example, currently, careful, slowly, for 2 minutes, etc. Types of procedural text. Here are the types of procedural text that you need to know. 1. Procedural text that describe how to operate or use something. For example, how to use a camera, how to use a rice cooker. Procedural text types. Procedural text next to procedural text that preface instruction in carry out certain activity. For example, how to play guitar, how to make a brownie. Next, procedural text related to tips for living life. For example, how to be successful in life, how to make yourself happy. Procedural text structure. Here is the structure of the procedural text. 1. Goal. Contains the internet and purpose of the relative procedure text. 2. Materials. Contains the materials needed to perform the steps of a procedural text. 3. Steps. A list of sequential steps to complete this procedural text stage. 4. Result. The result of the steps that have been carried out. Okay, next I will explain material about talking about interenst. So, interenst is a form of verb, namely a transitive verb or a verb that requires an object. Example, I interest with this poem. I don't know why. Your hair interests me today. Will you interest me if I sing a song for you? As for the meaning of expression interest is a statement of interest in something, someone, a conversation, and so on. To help convey expression interest, well, there are phrases that are commonly used in this discussion. We will review the phrases used for expression interest along with example. Purposes of expression interest. Broadly speaking, expression interest has two contexts of use. The first is the context for expression interest in something. And the second is the context in which we respond to other people's work with interest. For each of these contexts, there are phrases that are commonly used, namely like, enjoy, love, really into, fan of, keep, keen on, crazy, prefer better than, fond of, dig. Responding to other people's speech with interest. Unlike the previous section, in this section we use third term words more often. Usually, these contexts we use a series of words that sound exist or existed, not infrequent and exclamation point, in also use said at the end of this sentence to show more interest. Here are some commonly used phrases. That's interest. It's amazing. Really? That's incredible. No way. You're kidding. Example of expression interest. Of course, it is not complete if you only know what phrases are used for expression interest without knowing how to use them. Here are some examples of using expression interest in daily conversation. The following is an example of a dialogue about expression interest. Dion, why you're watching that series again, Dinda? How many times it already, Dinda? Well, about 5 times. I really like this series. It really helped me up, and I can't stop watching it. Dio, is it good, Dinda? Dinda, yes, of course. Just try to watch it first, and I'm sure you'll like to do. Okay, this material about education for giving opinion, giving direction, giving information, text procedural and text and about interest. For me, thank you very much, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.